Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of Wonder Woman Says. I got some more comics to review for y'all. I know y'all gonna like what I'm gonna review tonight. This week, we taking a break from the DC and Marvel universes, so to speak, to delve a little deeper into the underground. I know the comics I'm gonna be reviewing tonight coming from lesser known companies, even though this first comic coming up is from a title we all know and love. Because last week they dropped the latest issue of the Star Wars Adventures. IDW published this. Of course, we all know Star Wars kind of has a pretty complicated comic history, because I know it was on Marvel for years, and then they went to Dark Horse, and then they ended up here on IDW, but then also Marvel's doing some stuff with Star Wars again too, so Star Wars definitely been around the block, so to speak, in the comic book world, but tonight we're reviewing this one right here. Also, I gotta say, I really love this cover too. I'm pretty sure if Daisy Wrigley seeing this, she'd probably be amazed. Well, the stories in this book ain't too long, so I'm not gonna really show too much of this book because I don't want to spoil a new comic. So, of course, we open to this scene. Bounty Hunter has Moeb and pretty much under siege, if you will.
Is that Hellboy?
It looks a lot like him, but it ain't.
Yeah, because I was looking at the cover, I was like, why is Hellboy up in the corner?
Nah, it ain't him. I know. It could easily be mistaken for him, though. That would make for an interesting story, too. Wondering how did Hellboy get back in the Star Wars era. Anyway, so this bounty hunter has Moeb trapped and raised, trying to figure out a way to rescue him. Of course, Moeb temporarily overpowers him, but then of course the bounty hunter starts to regain control. The bounty hunter then pretty much goes to abduct Moeb, but Ray, being the brave soul she is, decides to jump on board the ship at the last minute. Ray pretty much concocts this plan too to free Moeb, and then pretty much the plan that she has ends up being pretty dangerous. Well, this is kind of a hard book to review because the stories are so short. If I went a little further, I'd pretty much spoil the rest of this. There's only like maybe 3 or 4 pages left in this story.
Was that BB-8 holding a lightsaber in that one picture?
I think so. Where'd you see that at?
The last one you showed.
This right here?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, why don't they give the droids lightsabers?
That's a good question. It would make a lot of sense.
I mean, I know they can't use the Force, but they would have precision movement.
Yeah, probably break up a lot of situations too. Well, to go any further would spoil the story. Apparently, this story was continued from the last issue of this series, so there's probably some context in it I was missing too. But hey, seems to be a thing I'm kind of used to running into reviewing these new comics. There's another story in here too, because I know this story is a lot simpler. It's like this young alien trying to get some fruit. She's constantly bullied by these boys. But then she meets this lady. She meets this lady from the Nihil. They begin to pretty much form a friendship. And they begin to pretty much concoct a plan to deal with the bullies that been tormenting her. Because they head off into this wood. They pretty much, of course, the boys end up bullying her again. Well, of course, a new friend has a plan to help her out. You know, story's real short, just like the last one. So if I went any further there, I would kind of spoil that one too.
All right, so just given the fact that the stories are so short, how would you grade them?
I think the first one I probably, on a scale of 1 to 10, I probably give it like a 6.5.
Mhm.
I think the artwork was good, but it just felt like such a routine story.
Certainly looked like it had a lot of action.
It did, but I don't know. Maybe if I saw the last issue and saw what came before it, maybe my opinion of it would be a bit higher. But for what I seen of it here, I don't know. It just kind of seemed like it could have been any episode of one of the animated Star Wars series. And,
Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of Star Wars fans like the animated stuff.
oh yeah. Second story. Now, second story I think was a bit better. I think I'd give that one probably a 7 or 7.5. Of course, we all like that story where the bully finally gets a dose of his own medicine at the end.
Get something dropped on top of him really high.
Yeah. And we also sympathize with that girl too. With the alien, so to speak, because a lot of people that have been bullied, technically feel like an alien, an outsider, however you want to call it.
The other one was totally punk too.
Yeah, I like that girl from the Nihil. Yeah, that girl looked like something out of the 80s punk band. Looked like something out of 45 Grave or something like that.
All right, so what's our next comic?
Well, a lot of you probably never heard of this title. I think it's probably the most ahead of its time comic book that was ever released in the 90s. Of course, I could be talking about none other than Mantra. I didn't hear about this book until maybe 3 years ago, just doing a random internet search. When I heard about what was in this book, I knew I had to read it immediately. I had to seek it out. Because I had a little trouble finding this particular issue. None of the comic book stores around here seem to have it. But I was in luck. The book ain't really worth nothing because, let's face it, few underground 90s comics are worth anything now. So I was able to get this for about $4. I'm glad I invested that money into it too, because this is a very interesting story that was, I would say, very revolutionary for its time. I think it's just due for a revival. You'll see why I say these things too.
What is it already?
Well, I love this opening shot right here. These represent the bodies that this centuries-long warrior going to inhabit in this story. We start the story off. The main character's name is Luke Cage. However, this ain't his original body. He's like a warrior. Pretty much he be switching bodies every time he gets killed. Him and his friends are in this centuries-long war against Boneyard. Arch Image is like Boneyard's main henchman. He goes to meet up with his friends here. They get ready for another battle. They're pretty much locked in this tussle. Of course, here we see Luke Cage get killed. Since he got killed, this pretty much going to be the end of this body he's in right here. But then lo and behold, just when it looked like our hero is dead, He's about to be reincarnated again. Meanwhile, he ends up in the body. Well, right here we see this woman's pretty much meeting up with the friend. She gets back together with her estranged boyfriend or husband or whatever you call it.
That one lady looks like Mallory Archer.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yes. Sterling, I'll have your guts for garters.
Of course, the lady's not knowing what's really going on. The man ends up brushing the woman off as if he doesn't even know her. The Luke Cage end up getting into his body next. Because this is the man Luke Cage is now. Of course, he heads off to go be with his friends. This is the master that they're serving. But then, next thing you know, another tussle's about to break out. And of course, unfortunately for Luke Cage, he ends up getting killed in this battle too, eventually.
He sucks at his job.
Yeah,
Killed twice in one day.
yeah. Of course, he's about to be reincarnated again, but this time, no, he's gonna be in for the shock of his life. Cause this time, he's not coming back as another man. This is his new body this time.
Sexy.
Yeah. So, Luke Cage is now this woman. Luke Cage is freaking out too. Luke Cage didn't think he'd be in bed with the man.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah. So then Luke Cage immediately ends up getting dressed. The man's trying to figure out what's going on. He don't know what's happening. And then Luke Cage pretty much ends up going off into the night in this woman's body. Of course, he starts to find out real quickly he can't walk in high heels.
I mean, how hard is that, really? I do it all the time.
Oh, it can be harder than you think.
Yeah, if you're bad at it.
I mean, it takes some practice, don't it? And then, of course, Luke Cage gets some info from the police about what happened to his friend, but as he goes to rush to the ICU, a man tries to rape her, even though, of course, he doesn't know her body's really being inhabited by a man. But, of course, you can only see what's on the outside. Luckily, Luke Cage escapes from him. Of course, he starts on the inside, he starts going crazy because he's not used to having a body this weak. But here he meets up with his friend. She gives him this mantra to say, she gives him this pendant or whatever. Of course, this is where Luke Cage transforms into Mantra for the first time. I must say, I really love that outfit too, by the way. Of course, Mantra wasn't supposed to be in that room. And then the police try to have a word with Luke Cage. But of course, Luke Cage does his best to get away from them. Of course, trying to retreat, Luke Cage decides to lay low at home. Of course, Luke Cage don't really know these kids. The mother, like, daughter trying to get her to read her bedtime story, she just quickly says no. Of course, she tried to drink some whiskey, but then finds out the body don't like whiskey, so that's another thing Luke Cage has to put up with. But then next thing you know, her arch nemesis finds, well, technically him, but her. And of course, Luke Cage is figuring that he's dead for sure this time. This is how to end this issue.
When did that come out?
1993.
Damn, the only other like transgender hero I can think of around the time was a supporting character in Savage Dragon. Was the nurse who turned into what was his name? It was like Wonder Man, Power Man, something.
Yeah, yeah, because when I found out this book came out in 1993, I was immediately taken aback because, like, this would be right at home in today's comic world. But nevertheless, I can imagine this book was probably a very hard sell back then. I must admit, I was very impressed with this. Of course, you know, I'm transgender myself, so reading this kind of resonated with me for obviously very personal reasons.
All right, so out of 5, what is it?
I would give this a 4.5. I think it's a very, very good intro issue. I really think this character needs to be brought back today. And they need to bring Mantra back in the original incarnation with Luke Cage. Or if they really must change it, I think they should give an actual trans character this character right here. I think it would be really incredible right now. I think it's a great tragedy this character just kind of died off. I really like the story too. The centuries-old warrior hopping between all these bodies.
It's like Quantum Leap.
Yeah. Of course, the twist, of course, you know, it's gonna be his last body too, so he needs to stay alive. So,
All right.
I really love this one.
All right, so of the two, which did you like better?
Definitely the Mantra. Definitely.
All right, so any final thoughts?
Well, I know it's Valentine's Day, so of course I'm gonna spend it with my fiance, you know. I can't wait to do that.
Aw.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you do have somebody, great, man. If you don't, I'm just saying, you know, don't despair about it too much. I know it's a lot easier said than done, because I know how that feels too, but I guess just try to get through the day however best you can. Of course, be back next week with some more reviews. Also, I will say, I know it's Black History Month, so the next show, we're going to be doing all black comics. That's going to be a good one. I can't wait for that. But in closing, I just want to say it was really fun. I know the Super Bowl happened, so
Rams won. Woo!
I wouldn't really know anything about that.
Well, I went to VCU, so I love any team called the Rams.
Fair enough. But yeah, about to get up out of here. Enjoy your night. Peace.